you're not going to feel great every single day.
I'd actually have like tears in my eyes because it would be so tough that I just want to stop.
Expect it to be shit. It's not going to be easy until it's easy.
Yeah, like it's been a journey, but I've enjoyed every part of it.
I want to get out there and I want to run, and I want to run fast.
I actually grew to like something that I thought I'd never liked.
I like a good challenge, so bring it on. Right guys, it is officially 8 days out from the half marathon, Saturday morning, and we are getting in our I suppose our second last run before we start to taper training down. Today is just going to be a slow run, nothing over the top, and then tomorrow is our last long run, and that will be officially 1 week out from the marathon itself, or the half marathon itself.
So today's run is going to be 9k. I just set my headphones up, I put my music on, and I'm getting ready to go. So with the race day coming up now in next week, I feel a lot more excited and like a lot more confident compared to when I started. Like when I started, I was so nervous and I kept doubting myself because I didn't know if I'd actually be able to do it. Like I thought maybe I'll end up like pulling out and stuff, but I've definitely gotten like a lot more excited since then. I started to enjoy it a lot more. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it and definitely feel like much more positive about it now compared to like the start.
It's about pushing ourselves, and it's about, you know, making sure that what we set out to do, that we achieve. And for me personally, I'm excited to do that. You know, we set this new goal, we executed our training, and now it's time to go and do exactly what it is that we said we were going to do. For me, it's not about, you know, the end goal. It's about the obstacles between when you start something versus the end date is just the destination. It's, you know, this is where we're going, this is what we want to do, and it's a day to celebrate, and it's a day to have fun, and it's a day to, you know, if you've prepared correctly and you've done what you've supposed to do or what you said you were going to do, it will be an amazing day.
So one thing I would do differently is I would give myself more time. I realized that giving myself, 5 weeks to prepare for a half marathon when I've never actually ran is not a lot of time. That's a huge thing.
No, there's nothing I do differently ever. You know, there's a starting point and there's an end point, and there's iterations along the way. So when you're looking at anything, never look back and think, what is it that I've done wrong? Because nothing is wrong. Everything is a step forward, and that's exactly what you want to think. You want to think about moving forward. You've got to start somewhere, and starting is the hardest thing. If anything, I would have just started sooner, because to me it's all about the journey, it's all about the work. It's helped me in my business, it's helped me in my training, it's helped me in every area of my life that I've once started this. It's literally followed, or it's kind of fell over into other aspects of my life. So, you know, the only thing I would change is that I would do it earlier. About the process itself, I wouldn't change anything, because you've got to learn the hard way. You've got to, you know, go out there and run wrong and then start to ask questions on how to do it right. It's literally, you know, part and parcel of, you know, growing as an athlete and growing as an individual.
So my mindset has changed a lot in the last few weeks leading up to the half marathon. I definitely learned that I can do anything I set my mind to. To be honest, the more you do something, the better you're gonna get at it. So like when I started, I had no experience in running, like I didn't really know what I was doing. Whereas now I feel so much more confident and so much more positive about the whole process as well. Like at the start, I would have been going on like my first few runs, and halfway through, I just want to stop. I'd actually have like tears in my eyes because it would be so tough that I just want to stop. But I never let myself stop. I just kept pushing through, and now I go out and I'm enjoying it. So I think it's so cool how in such a short amount of time, I actually grew to like something that I thought I'd never liked. So I just think that's pretty cool.
I love a challenge, and this half marathon is definitely a challenge in itself. I know I can do it, but it's the time that I want to do it within. That to me is the biggest push here, is the biggest challenge. It's about making sure that my training is pretty much as accurate as it can be, And I'm managing so much in terms of miles, kilometers in a weekly session or over the week, running a business day to day, running our, obviously our strength training and everything alongside that. So to me, the challenge is just the time that goes into everything that's worth doing. So it's always that it's just, there's an overwhelming feeling that when you start, you feel like you don't know what you're doing. And it's all a bit much, but once that settles, there's an enjoyment piece, and there's a piece that you kind of look back on, you kind of say, I'm happy I done that.
The last few weeks have challenged me because I basically picked up a whole new sport with no experience in it, and I'm literally preparing myself to run for 21 kilometers, and I'm giving myself 5 weeks to do it. That has been like one of the biggest challenges that I've faced. It's just the distance. They would jump up quite a bit each week. I think my first one was like 6K, and I thought that was so tough, whereas now that would be like an easy run. And then it went to like 9, then it went 12, then I did 14K on Sunday that just went by, and now I have 17K this week. So that's like an extra 3K. So I'd say the challenges would definitely be just because with the short amount of time, obviously I have to do big jumps in the distances.
There's not been any initial setbacks. When I say, I look at my training program, we had about 7 weeks to prepare, maybe slightly less. And everything's been pretty much on the money since then. If a setback ever comes in play, you've just got to adapt and overcome, and that's so easily said than done. But like what training and running and all of this stuff teaches you is that you're not going to feel great every single day. You're not going to wake up at 5 a.m., go on the road and start running 10 kilometers and feel amazing. But what you will do is you'll build up a resilience that every session that you push through, those setbacks kind of become less vocal in your head. You got to make sure you're eating. You got to make sure you're covering just as hard. You're getting your sleep. So to me, there has been no initial setbacks, but I'm sure there will be many on the way, and that's how I will adapt and overcome. I will make sure to prioritize sleep, training, nutrition, hydration, and if you're on point with all of those, they should get smaller and smaller. So to me, I'm looking forward to a few setbacks, not big ones, but I like a good challenge, so bring it on. I'm buzzing, to be totally honest. Like, I want to get out there and I want to run, and I want to run fast. That is my goal.
With setbacks, I actually, after I did my 12K run on, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I started to get a pain in my ankle that would come and go. It's very strange, and I still get it now. It's like some runs I'll be completely fine, and then other runs I'll be getting like a pain, or I might start with a pain and then it'll go away. Or even sometimes when I'm walking, I might be limping a little bit because it's sore. I do think the main cause for that was I didn't get myself proper running shoes. I didn't really know what running shoes to get. So when I went into the shop, I literally just went like, oh, I like them ones, they're pretty, I'm gonna get them. So I just literally got a pair of shoes that I thought were pretty. I didn't think if they were gonna be practical or not. I didn't think if they were like the right shoes for such long distances. Since then, I have gotten myself better shoes. I'm actually gonna use them for the first time today on my 9K run. So I'm excited to see like what the difference is. But that is one piece of advice I would give to anyone that is thinking of picking up running.
So when you do a lot of stuff, you are obliged to prepare, and preparedness is the key to success in anything that you do. If you are a business owner, or you are someone who wants to have a business or wants to run a marathon, a half marathon, you know what you're signing up to before you get into it. So you have to be prepared. Your preparedness has to be above a standard level. You have to make sure that you wake up on time. You have to make sure that you run when it's time to run, and that you train when it's time to train. And if you have commitments elsewhere, you've got to make sure that you're responsible for those commitments too. I always do suggest that people take a look at where you are and see if you can take on this new block of training or this new goal before starting, because you need to know what you're getting yourself into before you start, but you also need to be prepared to put the work in. As long as you understand that and you lean into it, I do find as an athlete and as a business owner, an entrepreneur, that's a little bit easier to deal with. 90% of the days feel awful. And that's how you know you're on the right plan. Like, you are not going to feel perfect every single day. Like 90%, there's actually a rule, 33% of the time you should feel good, 33% of the time you should feel terrible, and 33% of the time you should actually feel okay. And when you've got that balance right, that's how you know you're onto a winner. So it should never be, 90% all the time, but over a year, that's how you should feel, And if you're feeling like that yourself and you're juggling stuff, you just got to sit down and map it out. I find preparedness is the key to it. So if you're prepared, you shouldn't fail.
So with the preparations for the race day, I have been doing my runs like 3-4 times a week since literally the day I decided to do it. So I've been staying consistent with that, obviously building up my pace, building up my distance as well, just so I know I'll be well prepared to do the 21K next week.
So the goal for me is 145, and that goal is rooted on, I want to prove to myself that I can do it, because I know it's outside what I feel comfortable doing. And if you said to me, does 2 hours satisfy you? Yes, it does satisfy me, but I know 145 is there. It's also made me work harder inside of training. So, if I set the goal as, let's say I set it as at a 2 hour half marathon, I will only train towards a 2 hour half marathon. So by setting the goal that's slightly outside what I feel comfortable with, it pushes me. I know I've got to wake up, because if I miss a session, I know that session is contributing to my 145. However, if I comfortably know that I can achieve a 2 hour, I may kind of pull back a little bit and go, that session doesn't matter. So my discipline tends to drop if I know something is achievable and I don't have to work to get it. So by putting that goal that slight bit further, it pushes me every morning when I don't want to run. Personally, I think goal setting is literally like putting in a destination into Google Maps and having that be your route. And if you don't get there, it's fine, but a 149 is still better than 2 hours, and I would never have achieved a 149 only training for a 2 hour.
When I decided I wanted to do the half marathon, I did decide to get a running coach as well, which I think was probably the best decision I could have made. Having Ryan there, Ryan is my running coach, I feel like it helped me a lot, just because I didn't know what I was doing at the start, but he gave me a plan. He was there to answer any questions I would have had or make any changes as needed. There was a few times where I'd have to go to him and be like, look, I'm struggling with this, like what can I do? And he'd make like those changes for me. And then with that, I would get better and better and better. And I have also learned a lot just about running in general from him as well. Like things I wouldn't have known. Like I didn't really know what paces were, to be honest. I was like, what's that? And he would explain anything that I was struggling with. So a running coach is definitely a good idea if you're thinking of picking up the sport and you don't have any experience or knowledge in it.
Everybody has their challenges in life. Personally, I see my mom go through that when she got breast cancer. So for me, it's nice to be able to help people who don't have that same, pass on life. They have these obstacles in front of their way. And to me, that's one of the most inspiring things, is when you see people who have every excuse to quit, but they somehow have the will to pursue goals that, that they wish they could be in my position, or they wish they could have access to the same performance, but they're not. They're limited based on whether it be, a certain disease, whether it be breast cancer, whether it be any type of cancer, or even, just loss of limbs. Or we see it all the time here at the gym. People come in and they're in an uncompromised position. They've been dealt with X amount of cards and they make them work. And to me, that's the most inspiring thing, is to see people with, cards dealt against them, but not necessarily quit or ever give up. To me, it's nice to be able to, help people, or feel like I'm helping people that don't necessarily have the cards that they wish they had. So to me, it's a massive core of what I would like to do going forward. And it's definitely something that I get inspiration from.
So at the very start, I would have struggled a lot with my runs, like both mentally and like actually physically. Like I'd be getting shin splints, I'll be getting like stitches. I'd be getting out of breath so quickly, and then I'll be on my run and I'd actually want to cry and just stop. But I never let myself stop. I always just told myself, just keep going, just finish off that 1K, just keep doing it like one step at a time until basically you finish, which I did find it helped me a lot because I never gave up even though I really wanted to most of the time. And I feel like now I'll be going on my runs and I actually enjoy them. So I think if I didn't struggle at the start, I wouldn't appreciate them as much now. So yeah, like it's been a journey, but I've enjoyed every part of it, even the rough, tough beginning part.
It's funny, like when I brought this idea to Nicole, she was so totally against it. And I kind of had to, you know, walk her through like, look, this is not going to be easy, but it's not something that we haven't been able to do ourselves before. She takes everything on the chin and she loves the industry and the sport and everything that we do just as much as I do. And that's why as a team, we're able to, you know, do great things together. And on the days where I don't want to go, she's calling me at 5 a.m. in the morning and telling me to put my runners on and I have to go get her and we have to go run. And I definitely think if you can find someone that pushes you as hard as Nicole pushes me and as hard as I push Nicole, that person you should keep by your side, because yous are going to do great things and yous are going to push each other every single day of the week. And it's a competition between us two. Like it's an unspoken competition where she wants to do better than me and she subconsciously or secretly hides that fact. And I know it's there and I do it the same. Like we literally sometimes be waking up before each other. I'll be like making sure that I ring her so I know I haven't slept in, versus the opposite way. She gets a buzz out of ringing me and waking me up at 5 a.m. because I'm tired and she's not. Even in business, you know, as like business partners, like even within that, I find that it's super helpful because we just push each other like past, you know, barriers that we thought were impossible. So having her in that day-to-day experience and, you know, seeing everything she achieved last year in her bodybuilding success and seeing her as like a, you know, an Irish champion in bodybuilding and seeing her now put that same effort into a half marathon with zero training prior to this 6 weeks. And seeing her now run is quite literally a testament to the amount of work that she puts into everything that she does. She has a level of discipline that is, I would argue, surpasses mine and surpasses anybody else's. So that pushes me every day to keep fighting and to keep going, even on the days that I don't, because we both agree it's the journey, it's becoming better versions of ourselves.
So this whole experience has made me realize that running is actually a really difficult sport. And I have a lot of respect for people who do it. Like there is people out there who run ultra marathons, who do like 200-mile races. Like there's people out there that would be running for days without stopping. And I think that's incredible. I'm actually really excited for the half marathon. Like I'm kind of nervous still because I'm like, it's getting so close. But then at the same time, I'm like so excited to do it and give it a go and see how I do. Like, I know I'm gonna give it my best shot. I know I can do it. I just have to keep pushing through. And like my main goal really is to just finish it. No, I'm really excited, really excited. So yeah, 8 days to go.
It's 9 days till the Dublin half marathon. And to say that, you know, what are my emotions right now? How am I feeling going into this last week? I feel underprepared. I feel pressure. You know, I feel like, right, I've prepared, but I feel like I've underprepared. It's this weird feeling you get that the more you prepare, the more kind of pressure you put on yourself to achieve this goal. And I find the nerves starting to kick in around now. But I know on the day, that will all be fine. I will feel absolutely amazing on the day and it will be a great experience because I know I've put the work in and I can see that time getting faster and faster and I can see the 1:45 within my horizon. It's about setting the bar high, but it's also about, look, if it doesn't go my way on the day, you know, we will assess. I'm sure we will do another one. So we are 5k down. I'm feeling good. So like, I feel like this has been a minimal effort run. I don't feel like I've burnt any energy. I don't feel tired. I feel fresh. So it's funny, maybe 2 days was exactly what I needed because I was starting to feel a few bumps, a few niggles. Heart rate hasn't gone past 132, so you know that's good because I'm cruising. So Hello. So yeah, so all good, cruising, and just enjoying it, and I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? You know, just enjoying the work. You know, sometimes in the middle it can get hard, but you know, it's coming up soon, so I'm gonna finish this out. We're gonna probably do about 7k, and then we'll call it there. So another, say, 1.5 kilometers to go. When you start something, it is the hardest thing. And I find that what most people are afraid to do is start. Like when you start something, expect it to be terrible. So when I started my business, when I started running, when I started in the gym, every single session, every single feeling was terrible. I am on iteration 1000. So I am on the 1000th iteration of that. I started this whole journey when I was 16. I started training. I started putting myself first. I started doing that at the age of 16. And I'm still doing that every single day. I'm just doing it on iteration level 1000. If you want to start a business, expect it to be the worst version of your business in the beginning, because there's no other reality. There's no other thing that you can do. You can't open at your best. You can't train the first day at your best. It's just not possible. So I find a lot of people tend to put off starting because they might feel very difficult. But I want Nicole to be an example of that within a space of 5 weeks of putting work in, like it's not a long period of time, you can absolutely change and not need to be in the position that you are if you're feeling a certain way and if you want to start something, whether that be a business, whether that be starting to run half marathons, full marathons, or whether that be in the gym. And within 5 weeks, you will feel the way Nicole feels in her preparation, and you will feel like that you can now accomplish things. It's about starting, and the people who start will get the most results. So please, please, please take one story from this. It's don't be afraid to start, never give up, and always remember, expect it to be shit. It's not going to be easy until it's easy. So those first few weeks of anything new, business, give it a year, don't quit on it, but don't quit on yourself. Yeah, we're gonna get this wrapped up.